Hey everyone, we tend to think of science as having these set in stone rules. But what's so cool is that every now and then a discovery comes along that just grabs the rule book and rips a page right out. And today we're diving into four of those incredible moments. I mean, really think about it. What if the fundamental truths we've learned about biology, medicine, even history, what if they aren't just being tweaked a little bit, but are being completely overhauled right now as we speak? Well, that's pretty much exactly what's happening. We're going to explore four breakthroughs that are seriously rewriting the rules. We're talking everything from an AI that's decoding life itself, all the way to figuring out the real origin story of our cats. Each one is going to force us to rethink what we thought was solid fact. All right, first up, let's start with one of the biggest, thorniest challenges in all of modern biology, and the AI that just completely, and I mean completely, changed the game. Okay, so picture this. Everything happening in your body right now is run by these tiny molecular machines called proteins. And what a protein does is all about its complex 3D shape. The problem? A single protein can fold itself into a literally astronomical number of shapes. For half a century, figuring out the one correct shape was this monumental task. We're talking years and years of painstaking lab work just for one single protein. And then, AlphaFold showed up. This quote from bioinformatician Janet Thornton just nails it. She said it's like the second coming of structural biology. I mean, that perfectly captures the shockwave this thing sent out. This wasn't just a small step forward. It was a full-blown revolution. And if you want a sense of the scale here, just look at that number, 240 million. That's how many protein structures AlphaFold predicted and then just put into a public database for anyone to use. It covers pretty much every known protein on the entire planet. Think about that. What used to take an entire PhD to figure out is now just a few clicks away. And look, this is way more than just some academic exercise. Because when you can predict a protein's shape, you can finally understand how it works and, more importantly, why it breaks down in diseases like cancer or Alzheimer's. And from there, you can start designing drugs to actually fix it. And it's not some far-off future thing. It's already being used by over 3 million researchers all over the world to do exactly that. And we can actually see the impact it's having. This isn't just theory. Just look at this chart. The researchers who are using AlphaFold, they're confirming new protein structures at a jaw-droppingly faster rate. We're talking about a 50% increase compared to those who aren't. This AI is literally supercharging the pace of discovery. So that just naturally leads to a huge question, right? Now that we have this incredible new map of life's machinery, can we use it to find totally new ways to attack our most stubborn diseases? And that question is the perfect setup for our second story, which is all about a stunning discovery that found a hidden self-destruct switch inside cancer cells. Yeah, you heard that right. Okay, so this whole discovery hinges on a process called ferroptosis. The easiest way to think about it is like a natural safety feature built into our cells. When a cell gets way too stressed out, which is exactly what happens with cancer cells, the body can just flip a switch and tell it to self-destruct, to prevent more harm. But here's the thing, cancer is clever. It's really insidious. A lot of tumors, especially the really aggressive ones, have figured out how to disable that self-destruct switch. They turn it off, which lets them just grow and grow completely out of control. But now, scientists think they found the master control for that switch. It's a single protein called FSP1, and they realize that by targeting it, they could basically just flip that self-destruct sequence right back on. And the potential here is just staggering. In studies with mice, just by blocking that one FSP1 protein, they saw lung tumors shrink by as much as 80%. The cancer cells were basically being forced to destroy themselves. I mean, this opens up a whole new battle plan for fighting this disease. Okay, so from fighting disease, let's pivot to how our bodies heal themselves. Because it turns out our immune system has a secret communication channel that, until now, we had no idea even existed. So the secret here lies with these immune cells called macrophages. For decades, the textbook definition was simple. They're the body's cleanup crew. They show up after an injury and just gobble up all the debris. But this new discovery, it shows they have a shocking second identity. They can act just like neurons, like nerve cells, sending these lightning-fast signals to kickstart the repair process. And the key thing to understand here is the speed. When a muscle gets injured, these macrophages don't just wander in to clean up. Nope, they rush to the scene, form a direct, synaptic-like connection, and zap the muscle with a jolt of calcium.
that signal kicks off healing in a matter of seconds. This is a whole new dimension of how our bodies recover, and you can just imagine the possibilities this opens up for regenerative medicine down the road. All right, for our last story, we're going to zoom way out. We're going from the microscopic world inside our bodies to the pages of history to rewrite the origin story of one of our most beloved companions, the domestic cat. It turns out that new genetic evidence has completely flipped the script on this one. For the longest time, the common wisdom was that cats were domesticated way, way earlier. But this new, corrected timeline shows that the domestic cats we all know and love today, the ones descended from North African wildcats, they only really started spreading through Europe about 2,000 years ago. And they got to China even later, probably traveling along the Silk Road. But here's where it gets even more fascinating. In ancient China, there was another species, the leopard cat, that lived right alongside humans for thousands of years, probably because they were great at hunting rodents. But, as researcher Shujin Lo puts it, they were never truly domesticated. It was basically a failed experiment that went on for over 3,000 years. They just never quite made the jump to being our companions. So, when you put it all together, whether we're talking about the fundamental machinery inside ourselves, finding brand new weapons against disease, uncovering secret functions in our own immune system, or even just figuring out the history of the pets sitting next to us, it's clear the story of our world is never, ever finished.
And all of this really leaves us with one last big question to chew on. Given how much has changed in just the past few years alone, what seemingly unshakable truth that we take for granted today is just waiting for the right discovery to come along and completely overturn it? What part of the rulebook is going to get rewritten next?